Yo, YouTube, what's crackin' like a jack of smack, and it's Wolfman for video back on MyGM, and it's time for the All-Star break in the game. And as you can see, John Wall, Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, Carmelo, Pau Gasol, Goran Dragic from the Heat, DeMar DeRozan, Paul George, of course, is in there. Carmelo Anthony, by the way, we got him into the All-Star game pretty easily. I mean, we barely played any games, but he still got in. Jahlil Okafor, rookie right there. Greg Monroe, Kemba Walker, Jimmy Butler. And on the Western side, of course, we got the regular Westerns All-Stars there. We got Westbrook, Curry, Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis, Marc Gasol, Damian Lillard, James Harden. In this game, we have Gordon Hayward, Blake Griffin, DeMarcus Cousins, Eric Bledsoe, Klay Thompson, Zach Randolph, and that's about it. But the NBA All-Star game in real life voting has been taking place. The All-Star game will be held in Toronto this year instead of New York. These are my All-Stars that I voted for. On the West, we got Kevin Durant, Blake Griffin, Kawhi Leonard, Russell Westbrook, Stephen Curry. East, I got Carmelo, Paul George, Kristaps Porzingis, Kyle Lowry, and Jimmy Butler. Now, I'll explain some of these, and anyway, some of these players are gonna make it regardless just because of the NBA and just because of how voting works. I didn't include Kobe on the Western side because he's going to be voted in for starting anyway. So I chose Blake Griffin. He's been playing pretty well. Kevin Durant, we know what Kevin Durant could do. Russell Westbrook has been playing like a beast. And Stephen Curry are the two guys who I think should be on everyone's list. On the East, I think everyone should have Kyle Lowry and Paul George on their list. Carmelo Anthony and Kristaps Porzingis are there because I'm a Knicks fan, and I'm a huge Kristaps Porzingis bandwagon because I'm a Knicks fan. Carmelo Anthony is my favorite player, so I voted him again. Kyle Lowry, who I think is very deserving best point guard in the East right now that's playing. Kyrie Irving has not played a game yet, so if anyone's trying to get Kyrie Irving into the All-Star game, please do not vote him into the starting lineup. Please don't do that. Even John Wall, I understand a lot of people like John Wall. He hasn't been playing his best, and I think Jimmy Butler's been playing better than John Wall. I also think Kyle Lowry's been playing better than John Wall. So if you're gonna make a lineup, that's why I chose Kyle Lowry, because I've been watching Kyle Lowry now, and he's been doing great for the Raptors, man. Definitely one of the best players on their team, one of their most consistent players on their team. And when you look at the Bulls, Jimmy Butler is that team. That's his team right there. I mean, Derrick Rose is definitely falling off a little bit. I think he had a good game last game against the Clippers, which they won, but other than that, Jimmy Butler has been on point this year, man. Last year, I think he was, what was he? Was he the most improved player? I don't know. I don't keep tabs on these awards, but yeah, that's my list. I know Carmelo Anthony hasn't been playing his best. 21 points per game on 40% field goal range. He could definitely play better than that. As for Kristaps Porzingis, last game, that was an aberration game. I think he's going to be back to the way he is, when he started the year. And yeah, I think as a New Yorker, there's so many people in New York. I think so many people just love Kristaps Porzingis just in general now that people are just gonna vote for him. So we'll see what happens there if he can make the All-Star team. That would be great if he made the All-Star team in his first season. I mean, that would be insane. But give me your guys starting five for the Eastern and Western. Give me your guys who you're gonna vote for, who you want to see in the All-Star game. Now I have to say, All-Star, it's very tricky to see who gets into the All-Star team, because Anthony Davis was not included in my top 5 at least starters in the Western Conference. Now, Anthony Davis, you could consider him the best power forward in the league right now. Some people might. I mean, it's either him, Blake Griffin. I don't think LaMarcus Aldridge is in the conversation anymore. Even Kevin Love is playing well. Paul Millsap's been playing good. But there's only so many spots to fill on the All-Star team, which really sucks. And like people like Josh Smith, he's been snubbed for so many years, man. Obviously, he's not gonna make it this year. Some players that deserve to make it, they won't make it. I mean, there's so many spots you could give a player, and I mean, for each team, it's like what, 12 or 13 spots. So yeah, definitely there's some players who are definitely always gonna make the All-Star team. Players like Stephen Curry, James Harden, Paul George, Durant, obviously LeBron James. Those guys are gonna be in there, and there's just some position that's just gonna be, a competition to see, who's gonna be in there. Like the voting, of course, is gonna be the top 10 players who have the most votes, and then after that, it's all up to the coaches. So players like probably Avery Bradley, they might not make it. Some really good players, maybe Paul Millsap might not make it. Hawks have been playing decently too. So let's take a look at the Western Conference real quick. Obviously the Warriors are on top. Then the Spurs and the Thunder and the Clippers with the 4th record. And I mean, between the 4th and the 8th seed, it's really actually between the 3rd and the 8th seed. It's actually really close. I mean, it's only like a 4-game difference. So, you know, it's really close in the West right now. I mean, definitely some huge disappointments in the Pelicans. And we know Anthony Davis is probably going to be in the All-Star game anyways, but definitely a huge disappointment to the Pelicans. Kings have been playing alright. You know, DeMarcus Cousins is on that team. Rondo's been playing to a great caliber right now. Rondo's probably going to be one of those guys who was like, oh, should we include him in the All-Star game? Probably not, since the Kings are, you know, they're under 500 right now and they don't really deserve 2 All-Stars. Then again, you can say the same thing about the Knicks. But, yeah, Stephen Curry is definitely going to make it. James Harden, definitely going to make it. Durant, probably going to make it, definitely. Westbrook, definitely going to make it. Lillard, Portland Trailblazers have been playing, they've been playing, you know, after losing LaMarcus Aldridge and losing all those pieces, they've been playing decently as well. So I think Damian Lillard's gonna make it to the All-Star team. Of course, Blake Griffin. This year, I actually I'm not sure about CP3. I mean, everyone will probably vote for CP3. But looking at the Clippers, man, I don't know if I don't think CP3 really or deserves to be in the game. I mean, the Clippers haven't been playing great, and the games that the Clippers win, I don't watch that many Clippers games, but I think that Blake Griffin is a focal point of this team right now. I don't think Chris Paul's been playing better than Damian Lillard or better than Westbrook or better than Curry. And that's already 3 point guards right there. So we got Westbrook, Lillard, and Curry. How many point guards do you want on the Western Conference All-Star team? It's going to be the main question. And it's also Eric Bledsoe. I don't think he's playing better than Eric Bledsoe. Bledsoe has been playing great for the Suns. The Suns are competing out there. I'm liking what the Suns are doing with Brandon Knight and Eric Bledsoe. It's actually turning out pretty well. So yeah, that's for all the point guards out there / shooting guards. And we know Kobe's gonna make it in the West, of course. James Harden is a Western Conference shooting guard. And other than that, I don't think there's any other shooting guards in the West, if I'm mistaken. Unless you want to include CJ McCollum or Klay Thompson, but those guys are outliers right now. And, you know, Warriors are winning a lot of games, so here comes the discussion of whether you should include 2 or 3 All-Stars from the Warriors. I actually want to see Draymond Green in the All-Star game. I know everyone likes Klay Thompson. I know everyone likes shooting. But I think Draymond Green's been playing well, man. He definitely deserves some recognition. I mean, he's averaging about the most assists on the team, a good amount of rebounds, and a good amount of points, and he's shooting a good percentage too. So Draymond Green definitely good on the defensive side of the ball as well. I think he deserves some recognition and should be in the All-Star game. And if you want to put Klay Thompson before them, well, you know what? Just include all 3 of those guys in the All-Star game, because the Warriors are just playing fantastic. Probably going to win tonight and go 24-0. So that's what I think about the Western side of the All-Star game. And then you got people like DeMarcus Cousins. Yeah, he should be in the All-Star game as well anyways. Marc Gasol, I don't know, I haven't watched enough Grizzlies game, but he's one of those guys when like everyone's been saying he's a top 10 player. I don't think he's a top 10 player in the league. I think he's a very good player. I just don't think he's that kind of player who's gonna, you know, take you far into the playoffs and stuff like that. I mean, he's a center, but he's not a center like DeMarcus Cousins. He's definitely not a center like, you know, Andre Drummond. And I think some of those centers in the league are taking over the game right now. So let's look at the East real quick. Obviously, Kyle Lowry is the best point guard no matter what. John Wall still might make it in there, of course, because of the coaches voting. So might Kyrie Irving, even though he hasn't played yet. And for the shooting guard, we got Wade, of course. And other than that, Wade and Jimmy Butler, and that's about it. Now, I wish Paul George was kind of a shooting guard, small forward, but now he's a small forward, power forward. So Paul George is now in the small forward front court category. So we got Paul George, LeBron James, Carmelo, and East. It's gonna be tough to pick who's gonna be in the East. I mean, it's a lot. It's not that many huge big men in the East. Obviously, Andre Drummond should make it, but then you got people like Paul Millsap, Al Horford. I mean, it's kind of tough in the East. Chris Bosh. I mean, are you going to include 2 people from the Heat? Maybe, because Chris Bosh has been in there before and because of his reputation. But I mean, it's going to be some slumps, of course. I don't know if Greg Monroe will make it. Probably not. And people like LaMarcus Aldridge, are they going to make the All-Star team? Is Pau Gasol going to make the All-Star team? A lot of interesting players in the East who could make the All-Star team or who couldn't make the All-Star team. I mean, honestly, Kristaps Porzingis right now, as he stands, he's ranked 63 or 64th in points per game. So yeah, it's definitely a chance for that. Kemba Walker, will he make the All-Star team? Will we have some new All-Star players in the All-Star game? Derrick Rose definitely shouldn't make the All-Star team, but yeah, it's gonna be a really interesting playing field. Even some of the Nets have been playing good, but it's gonna be really interesting to see who's gonna make it and who doesn't make it. For anyways, now for now I'm out. Peace.